how you were basically starting out with extreme
Yeah.
vocal effects. What was the first effect, and how you were trying to achieve success doing
Oh.
something like that?
My very first effect that worked and that I recognized as, hey, this is the right thing was distortion, false distortion. So for rock singing,
Hmm.
I had a really long time of being very frustrated with my voice,
Hmm.
and also with the kind of voice education, where I always wanted to scream, but I had no luck finding anyone that can show me how to. That was also back then when I was in university, and I couldn't afford really the screaming coaches that
Hmm.
existed back then. And I at some point I think I just gave up and I accepted, okay, my voice just cannot do it. I had people in my vicinity, just from playing in bands and knowing other bands, that could do screaming vocals, but they could never really explain what they do.
Hmm.
And when I would try to imitate them, it just hurt. Um, and then I came across a complete vocal technique by Catherine Sadolin. Must have been, I think, maybe 2015, something around that.
Hmm.
And are you familiar? You're familiar with complete vocal technique, are you?
100%. Yeah, and I like it
Yeah.
really. Like nerdy stuff.
Me too. Yeah, I love it. So I'm not certified, but my method is really inspired by CVT, and through CVT, I finally understood more about singing, about the voice, and it gave me that trust that, oh, so my voice can do effects, and effects are something that you can learn, that
Hmm.
there are methods to do it. It's not right before that. I thought, okay, just some people have the magic sauce, right?
Uh-huh.
The magic voice, they can just do it, and I can't. And doing that one effect was so huge on my self-confidence in my singing
Hmm.
that it really put into my mind that, okay, if I can do that, then maybe I can also do screaming. And I can also do, yeah, all kinds of effects. Yeah, that was huge. How was it for you?
Actually, kind of the same, because I was more from classic rock genre of music. I'm a huge fan
Yeah,
of
yeah,
70s, like Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin. So all the more screamier music was slightly later, like like thrash metal, and then more
yeah,
like death metal and black metal, and then new metal and metalcore with more kind of what we call fry screaming stuff like that.
yeah,
So I was not kinda trying to
yeah, yeah,
scream. I was trying to make a clean singing with
yeah, yeah,
distortion, with grit
like
and
rock.
rasp.
Yeah,
And
distortion. Yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah,
basically imitating, first of all, I remember Robert Plant and
yeah,
Ian Gillan from Deep Purple, especially on the highs. I remember
yeah,
back in the days, I was always
yeah,
vocalizing a lot in falsetto. Then it became
yeah,
more kind of
yeah,
head voice compressed thing. So this range was always open, but it was not connected. You know what I mean? So I could sing
yeah,
higher, but not in a connected way. But
yeah,
in this upper part, I could add some grit and distortion. It
yeah,
was much more
yeah.
difficult in the lower part
Ah,
and in
yeah,
the middle part. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember when I was trying to sing stuff like Alice in Chains, more grunger, like Lane Staley type of sound, Chris Cornell,
yeah,
maybe Scott
yeah,
Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots. I was trying to imitate those guys, and I think probably now I'm like analyzing the stuff because I was covering the vowels more, creating more deeper
yeah.
position.
More curbing.
Yeah, exactly. More like
Yeah,
when we are
yeah,
talking about
yeah,
CVT,
yeah,
or in my method, I
yeah,
call this mode medium mode because it's like medieval type of compression.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, this kind of like click idea and hold back, which is leading me to a more compression. And by compressing the clean tone, I was engaging the
Yeah.
vestibular folds more in a
Ah,
controlled
with the hold,
way.
right? More hold.
Exactly.
Yeah, more
Yeah,
hold,
yeah,
darker
yeah.
sound. And then if you just open the vowel but keep the hold, some distortion wants to come in.
Exactly. And you know
Yeah. Is
what?
that also how you teach distortion?
Uh, I'm teaching distortion from two perspectives. The first one is simply by going from adding more and more and more and more compression and thinking
Yeah.
about clean voice and adding more and more compression to the clean voice.
Yeah.
If it leads to, kind of over squeezed
Yeah. Yeah.
sound,
Yeah.
I'm switching more towards idea about engaging more and more and more quack, like the twang.
More twang. Yeah.
Exactly. And creating more and more funnel about the folds. So basically, it's like
Yeah.
diagnosing the student. If the
Yeah.
student is like, "Oh, I'm kind of like this," and I'm like, "Okay, let's try to do the oh," and he's like, "Oh, oh," and like it's working. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's
Yeah.
like at the compression, he's like nothing is happening. There's no placement.
Mm.
Everything is stuck in here. I'm like, forget about holding back too much, but create more open vowel into
Yeah.
like
Ah.
exactly through the like more
Yeah.
quacky
Yeah.
position. But with my case, I remember I found distortion not with like when we were talking about the CVT,
Yeah. Yeah.
like the center of the mode is like super high larynx, super damn soft palate, super front horizontal open bitey vowel.
Yeah.
In my case, it was completely opposite. It was more deeper, darker sound color vowel,
Yeah.
more deeper position, kind of, hey, kind of more like this.
Yeah.
And this has helped me a lot. So I remember this thing. And if it's not working with kind of more raised, like whiny vowels, I'm trying to incorporate this while teaching. And a lot
Yeah.
of the times it works really good.
That's very interesting. I when I teach distortion, I either go twangy distortion, or if you talked about with Tony about this,
Hmm.
we differentiate between two ways. Or have you seen this triangle of
Hmm.
distortion that we worked on?
Hmm.
So getting distortion via twanging,
Okay.
getting distortion via compressing rigid abs, or there's also, I wouldn't really call that something to teach, but you can also reach distortion by pushing, which feels horrible.
I
Um, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, and when I teach, I often so I think in real life, most singers use like a hybrid technique. So they like you what you did. Your abs were rigid, but
Exactly.
you were also quite twangy.
Yes.
So, but not distinctly twangy, but just twangy enough so that the curbing works.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the abs a little bit more firm than what CVT, I would say, would teach. So in reality, most people use both
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when teaching, I often go one path first.
Hmm.
And it depends on what they're after. When they're after more um, screaming,
Hmm.
and especially hyper compressed fry screams,
Okay.
I go to the hyper compression route right away.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But when they want to do more singing and say like, hey, I want to do distortion, and I also want to sing high stuff with it, then twang is king. And
100%
then I
to thin it
go
out
via
more.
twang. Yeah. And then yeah, well, I most of the time I just see, can we do something that is extremely twangy, really, really ugly? And then we try by making one small change to have the distortion kick in. And that could be, we're already very twangy and now we stick out the tongue. We're already very twangy on a closed vowel. Now we open the vowel.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Or what I also like is changing pitch. So you are incredibly twangy. Now go down a note, but you need to stay just as twangy. You're not allowed to twang less. And then suddenly
Yeah.
on the lower note, distortion comes in. But I also sometimes do like a mix technique where, for example, we would set up, let's say, a quite twanged overdrive,
Hmm.
and then by going a bit more firm on the abs, we have
Okay.
distortion come in. But by going this way, I mean, one danger always is that when they go more firm, is that they start to push.
Yeah,
Said more
yeah,
firmness leads them to go louder, which is not what we want.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there makes sense, as you said it. Starting curbing, I also like to do that. Curbing. Then we hold the curbing
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
more than
yeah, yeah, yeah,
necessary,
yeah.
and then we open the valve, and
Mm-hmm.
boom, there it is. Um, Very often when people only do twangy distortion, the distortion feels safe, but the sound is really ugly. And so what would I think makes sense? Either not just twang less, but if you twang less, right, we're going a little outside of where twang and distortion works.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to counter that by going a bit more firm. So a bit into the hypercompression direction.
Yep.
Yeah, so again, kind of mixed strategies. That's really cool. Um, how do you how do you teach? I saw you mentioned when people compress too much,
Mm-hmm.
you steer them away from that.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
totally agree for distortion. But how do you teach fry screams? Do you differentiate
Y-
between
For
no
sure.
compression
Yeah, but
more and
just a
hypercompressed
sec.
or also
Couple
muting? Yeah, yeah.
and couple of words about distortion.
Yeah.
You said about like the compression idea, the more quacky twangy, and the
Yeah.
pushy thing. And a lot of the times, there are students who are like they have no clue how to create distortion. They can sing clean more or less, and like
Yeah.
there is
Yeah.
like no idea how to add any like texture to the voice. But there are a bunch of singers who are using distortion, but it hurts, it's unhealthy, and this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
basically their first of all, they're searching for, more kind of Kurt Cobain tone or a country singer, and
Metallica,
and this
old Metallica
is
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and this is so different because first of all, we can do like oh, like the compressed one. We can do oh yeah yeah, kinda with breath equality,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's the idea why I'm always starting with more like super compressed distortion, because this is engaging the proper support, not to blow the ear at
Mhm.
all. And when you need this
Yeah.
kind of breathier distortion, it's not because I'm literally doing the I'm
Yeah.
supporting and letting the folds be a bit more decompressed.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
not pushing the air through.
Yeah.
That's why it's much more healthier to go from kinda here into the sound, like still maintaining the
Yeah.
support and opening the folds just a bit to remain with the like breathy, this type of sound. So this,
That sounds almost like
but
a split. Can
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Can you, but it doesn't work. So my guess, I can't do exactly that. But my guess is this doesn't work well when going very high.
One
Is
hundred
it?
percent, 100%. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Because it works really cool and open up in a high mid part of the voice.
yeah,
After high part of the voice, we still need to have the resistance. We need to thin out and stretch the folds and zipping up.
yeah,
That's why, or you're gonna overblow in the super upper part,
yeah,
or you need
yeah,
to change the strategy and go or
yeah,
to a more creaking idea. Oh
yeah.
yeah, oh sound
Have
kinda.
you have you scoped this before? So
Uh,
have you seen the vocal folds?
yeah, 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 yeah. There, so like I can do the
Yeah,
like okay in CVT neutral
yeah,
or
yeah,
in my method light mode,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
add the vestibular folds right above the neutral. Or
yeah,
I can make a bit of splitting
yeah,
and
yeah,
put the distortion. So it's almost kind of
yeah.
here and there, just a bit.
Tony can do fry splits. I'm not sure. What I'm wondering is is it really vocal folds open up and we have like like a breathy sound? Or is it actually a type of creaking split where your voice creaks and the folds actually still close
We can
100%,
we can
but
do
they close
combine.
aperiodically?
We can combine. We can put the creaking
Yeah.
as a fundamental sound and put
Yeah.
overlay. But
Yeah.
this is basically, I'm gonna do the clean voice. Hey, 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 hey,
Yeah, that
hey,
sounds rhythm. Yeah.
hey, hey,
Yeah.
hey. But I'm like adding
Yeah.
support, like
Yeah.
hey, oh. So basically, that's my fundamental tone,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then a bit of the vestibular folds,
Yeah.
rather than hey. That's something different.
Yeah.
That's I'm putting the like a bit of the creaking, not the
Do
regular
you,
one, but
that's so cool. Do you lose a bit more air when you do that? Or is it the same?
actually, no, because I have the resistance from vestibular folds, and it feels
Yeah.
like they are giving me more resistance.
Yeah,
So
more
it's more
resistance. Yeah.
comfortable to sing
Yeah.
kinda like this. It's more stable rather than this.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
So, but the idea is you were talking about this
Yeah.
pushing thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and a lot of the times those who are searching for this type of sound,
Yeah.
they are trying to do this
Yeah.
by, like blowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's, I think, number one thing which is kind of helpful for a lot of singers when they're like get the distorted sound. They get the distorted sound by just blowing.
Mm,
They're blowing
but
and
it
they're
was
like, oh,
terrible.
okay, we
Yeah.
have the distortion, but like after 20 minutes, it's like, oh, I can sing high. I can't zip up actually because I'm losing the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
edge because of this thing. So we
Yeah.
we, we
Yeah.
can thin out. Okay, that was about distortion. And let's talk about the screaming and like fry
Yeah.
screams
Yeah.
or false score screams and all this thing.
Yeah.
Um, back in the days for me, it was when I was more into a metalcore. I was like, hold on a second, I can do distorted sound, but how they are sound more like
More like
noisy,
there's more to something. Yeah.
noisy,
Yeah.
noisy
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
voicey. And I was like, okay, maybe I
That's
can
a
compress.
creaking. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Can I share something with you?
Yeah, for sure.
Can you let me share my screen?
Yeah.
I have a workshop coming up in a couple of weeks, and I recorded some spectral sounds. So
Mhm.
we can take a look at that.
Cool.
Um, so that's a spectrogram. So we can
Cool.
see low pitches on the bottom,
Hmm.
high pitches on the top. Or voice looks like that, or a musical pitch looks like that,
Hmm. Hmm.
where you have a fundamental at the bottom, and then you have the overtone series.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you can also see when I do a vibrato that it wiggles around.
Hmm.
And when we go up in pitch, it looks like that. It's always everything moves in unison,
Hmm.
right? And we don't see the whole spectrum filled with noise, but it's a clean sound. That's how it sounds. That was creaking. That
Creaking.
wasn't
Yeah,
distortion, that
yeah,
was creaking. Yeah. And regular creaking.
yeah. Hmm.
So it really makes a second pitch, and we can actually see that. It's an octave below.
Like, yeah, like subharmonic
Yeah,
down the one.
exactly. And here, what was that? That is irregular creaking, but in
Yeah.
really quiet. And here we can see it looks much more like noise,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? Like what we saw here, right? Looks much more like noise. So the same effect can sound regular, subharmonic,
Yep.
make a second pitch, and be irregular.
Yes.
Right? That is me doing a little run with that, and we can still hear okay. It goes a little up and down.
Hmm.
Okay, that's what was that? That was grunt.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
that. You can also do that subharmonically or very noisy. I try to
Yes.
maintain the same pitch here. We can see looks similar to the noise.
Hmm.
Doing a run with that. And what's interesting about that is it has less pitch, but it still is somewhat pitchy. You can see the individual overtones here, but you also see all this extra stuff, all this extra noise.
Hmm.
Okay, here we get to distortion, I think. There we go. And
Yeah,
again, you
yeah.
can see it's like
Clearly
a second
more
set of pitches.
tonal.
Totally.
stuff than
Totally.
atonal. Yeah.
Yeah. But we can, when we go further into distortion, we can make it atonal.
Mm-hmm.
When we, for example, not just use twang, but also press.
Mm-hmm.
Show you here.
Mm-hmm. Here you
That,
go. A bit of the
yeah,
creaking
yeah.
on the
But
fundamental.
no, it's not creaking. It's not creaking. It's just distortion. No creak. I'll show you
Can you
creaking
turn
later.
it again?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah, but it's
almost hyper compressed,
it's
like
hyper compressed.
super compressed clean tone, and a lot of
Yeah.
atonal like
Yes.
above.
Yes. And we can see that in a spectrogram.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the pitch, that's what you mentioned before, the pitch is still there. We can still hear it's that pitch.
Yeah.
Right? Right, we can hear that. So the question is, how do we get less of that pitch? And interestingly, the distortion moves along, right?
Mm-hmm.
That hypercompressed again.
Yes, yeah. But
And
still
we see
tonal
the pitch.
fundamental bass.
Totally.
Yeah.
Still we see tonal, and here it goes a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have a fry scream. And now we can't really hear pitch. It still is the same pitch. It still is that C4, but it's almost inaudible because it's almost pure noise.
Okay.
And this I would call hypercompressed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically the same thing as what we had here, or wait, we had here, but now also with creaking. And this is what makes the pitch go away.
Exactly.
Yeah. Interestingly, we can also see the vowel A right here in these two peaks. Here I'm trying to let go. Go to clean. Creaking.
Yeah.
And we can really see the noise.
Cool
Here's an
transition.
octave up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Playing with the vowel.
White noisy. Yeah.
And for that, we need creaking. Yeah. That's what I wanted to,
Cool.
that's what I wanted to
Thanks
show you.
for sharing. Amazing. That's
Welcome.
amazing. And that's what I'm talking about. Because for me, it was like how I can put the like white noise into my phonation. And I was like, okay, hold on a second. More atonal sound for me was like the vocal fry. We have kind of the frequency.
Yeah.
But it's not like, that's more noisy, 100%. But a lot of the times everybody's like, okay, that's the fry. Like fry scream, maybe it's all about this thing. Okay, it's not going to work because what we need the compression. And that was the idea, like creating the compressed click fry. The next step is to compress this thing. And this helps with adding the support, adding the quack twang thing, holding back the air rather than just pushing the air through the fry. And the very first step, for me especially, it was the in this case, shouldn't be super loud. This idea is more about the frequency response and creating the like piercing, quality, cutting through the mix first that you can lean on, and then you can build more and more and more. Basically, the projection. You can like quack crank more, create more support, and go through. Again, it's all about.
Yeah, that's what I meant with louder. Sorry, I was like.
Reduce the pushing breathy idea from there.
Yeah.
But again, it's the same as with distortion. If someone is trying to do that and he's just talking with really quiet volume, with over squeezed quality, like nothing is helping in this case. And I saw the same with you. Like the cool thing is to like put the energy out from a belt tone or high volume tone.
High mix,
And from there, like you're losing subglottic pressure, and like bam, the folds are not going from super fast vibration into a slower, which is basically fry creaking thing. hey, yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah.
I think so I do it quite similarly. Let me show you real quickly. Normally, when singing, we have to balance. That's my voice box.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now the vocal folds in here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and from this direction, I'm bringing in pressure, air pressure with
Mm-hmm.
my support. And from this direction, I have some form of resistance.
Like supraglottal
Okay?
pressure. You're talking about the
Yeah.
impedance. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm talking about impedance, exactly. This should be in relationship to each other to
Mm-hmm.
get out a clean sound.
Yeah.
But we can either give a little less support, to
Mm-hmm.
get creaking. The key here really is only a little bit less. What
Yes.
often happens with people when you go the under-energizing route, so this route,
Mm-hmm.
is they go from really loud belt
Mm-hmm.
to very tiny falsetto.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did many things. First of all, they went from, let's say, maybe from volume 4 or energy 4, right? Say this is a belt.
Mm-hmm.
They went from here to zero point 0.1,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so way too little, when in fact it's enough to go from this to, if you keep the shape, so the vowel and twang
Mm-hmm.
the same, to go really just to that. What you were describing earlier
Mm-hmm.
with you starting creaking. Um, so let's say is you starting creaking, and now if you go louder, it disappears. So how do we get it more powerful? What you were doing with compression is to narrow
Yeah.
this area, which means we have more impedance,
Yeah.
right? We have more resistance to the air pressure. It
Mm-hmm.
means air pressure can stay the same, or can actually, we can, if we hypercompress, maybe it's a 4 on
Mm-hmm.
top. We can actually give quite even much more energy, but it still creaks.
Yep.
Um, what I also like, um, uh, or what's typical, so that's how I often teach. I use cues for under energizing,
Mm-hmm.
giving a tiny bit to little support.
Mm-hmm.
This often works better with beginners. Very often, people who are very seasoned singers have a very hard time to change only one parameter, to change only energy or
Mm-hmm.
support, and not change the vowel or the color in conjunction. So what they often have is when they go from loud, from high energy to lower,
Mm-hmm.
they also lose the twang.
Ah.
They change the vowel.
Yeah.
They, right, go from
Changing the
that.
whole vocal tract shaping, basically, the whole
Totally.
tuning.
They
Yeah.
change the whole vocal tract shape. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so there is really tiny change. And what often happens with these people is they start to correct. So when they're not allowed to correct by changing the vowel,
Mm-hmm.
right, to keep things in balance, then they start to squeeze.
Yeah.
Or, that's one thing, they start to become rigid.
Mm-hmm.
They introduce some compression to make everything stable. When so what we want to do to get creaking is to find essentially a spot that is unstable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and to the more unstable it is, or the longer we stay in this unstable spot, the more likely it is the creaking can awaken from that. If I have trained to be 100% stable all the time, so to adjust pitch, energy, and vocal tract shape, vowel,
Mm-hmm.
all in conjunction, as which is what trained singers do, then I almost have no access to unstable things now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And cues like give it a little less energy, or can you go one note too high to go unstable? Or what happens if you open the mouth a little more? Does it get unstable? They all don't work because they always change things together.
Yeah.
And what I really like to do there is to go with vowel first.
Mm-hmm.
So to really focus in on keeping energy steady, like a steady you, and then becoming aware that when we change vowel, when we open up the vowel, we actually give a little more energy to that. You,
Mm-hmm.
and if I'm not allowed to do that, but the energy must stay exactly the same. Ooh, making one change while keeping the energy the same.
Mm-hmm.
You can sometimes also reverse engineer it when they have something where, whoa, 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 where they can creak right away. You
Mm-hmm.
can have them creak on an open vowel and let them go to a closed vowel,
Yeah, yeah,
but keep the
yeah.
same energy, not
Mm-hmm.
go less energy. So they understand this difference. They when they go, ooh, the creaking went away. Ooh. And I slowly close the vowel, creaking either becomes less or goes
Mm-hmm.
away. And now I can work in reverse. Now I can understand, okay, let's keep energy the same. Ooh, and just open the vowel
Mm-hmm.
and see what happens. See if I can feel some instability. Ooh. And very often creaking happens way sooner than people expect.
Mm-hmm.
And once this clicks, we can use this in different pitches
Yeah.
and also at different starting points. We can start in a curbing and slowly open up the vowel, not go louder, not go towards the nice overdrive or edge,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and suddenly the curbing becomes unstable and we end up in a medium fry.
Yeah.
I like to do that. So doing an adjustment to the vowel without adjusting energy or without adjusting pitch. And a little bit more advanced would be this is all for not hypercompressed.
Yeah,
It
yeah, I
works on
understand.
hypercompressed too, but we don't need to be hypercompressed to
Mm-hmm.
do that. And what I also like to do is become aware that when, for example, we go from one overdrive note to the next,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, it can't be
Mm-hmm.
loud right now.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, we adjust, we track the harmonic
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be amplified, second harmonic. We
Exactly,
track
because it's
that
belt.
with whoa, yell timer. We track that with
By
our
opening the valve more and more and more and
exactly.
more.
Now the thing is, if we don't do that and
Yes.
we go just a little higher,
Mm-hmm.
we feel, oh, it gets unstable. And
Exactly.
now if we refrain from screwing with it, but just have people just slide up one whole tone extremely slowly, and you must stay frozen in the mouth shape you have for the low vowel. And suddenly we get really loud, intense
Yeah.
creaking.
Yeah, yeah,
Feels
yeah.
unstable. Yeah. So this is, I like to, so we had this model of resistance to the air pressure
Mm-hmm.
and air pressure that we supply. We can also think, or I also like to think in terms of when we sing cleanly, we need to adjust vowel or timbre or color, or however you want to call it, energy, so subglottal pressure, and pitch at the same time.
Yeah.
So when we go higher, we need more subglottal pressure,
Yes.
and we need to make at least some adjustment to the vowel. If not, register will change.
Yes.
When we change vowel, we need some adjustment to the pressure.
It's like a
And
triangle. You're changing something here.
yeah, yeah,
Everything
yeah,
is like in your
yeah.
relation. 100%.
And for fry, I teach people we change one thing and we are really stubborn about not changing the other two.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, for example, we change the vowel, but we do not change pitch or energy.
Yeah.
Or the under-energizing cues are we stay in the same vowel
Mm-hmm.
and we keep the pitch. But now I need to let go of subtotal pressure.
Uh-huh.
This can sometimes be unintuitive for people. What also
Sure.
works if you introduce some support knowledge at first. So make them aware that, for example, if the space inside here gets compressed, gets smaller. So for example, um, my ribs are together,
Mm-hmm.
not spread, but together.
Mm-hmm.
and now I pull the low part of my stomach, I pull it in,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like CVT support, right?
Okay.
Here it extends. This is in,
Mm-hmm.
and now I feel okay. If I, for example, hold my vocal folds closed, uh,
Mm-hmm.
oh, now I feel like there's more pressure inside.
Like you're making
Let's
the
start
click
from
first,
here.
like closing
So
and making the resistance.
that will be one way to make them feel this.
Mm-hmm.
Like glottal stop, Harry pop,
Mm-hmm.
Harry pop. Now pull your belly in, or
Mm-hmm.
like the lower part of the belly in.
Mm-hmm.
Or what you can also do is go the other way. Ribs extended,
Mm-hmm.
Harry pop. Close the ribs. Now
Mm-hmm.
we have more pressure. That is more support.
Yeah.
And now we start from here and we extend the ribs a little. Or we start from belly in and now we let go of the belly. This, of course, means we're not allowed to cheat in any other way, right? So, of course, if I
Mm-hmm.
flex my back, that introduces more support, right? That everything, it's about lung space, right?
Yeah.
Lungs are filled with air. If I make the lung space smaller, I have higher pressure. If I'm smaller means the organs here need to go up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Belly in. Smaller means the ribs need to go together.
Mm-hmm.
Bigger means if I stretch, give the lungs more space, the pressure drops,
Mm-hmm.
right? Imagine I have a balloon, there's air in it. Now imagine I would stretch the balloon. The air inside doesn't change, but now the pressure becomes less because it's more air across
That's why it's so
it's not more
different
air.
when we're
It's
talking about
more
apogeo,
stable.
about
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
more compressed thing. It's completely different when you are really compressing the space and like
Yeah.
supporting the core muscles and everything is
Yeah.
like more
Yeah.
tense rather
And
than
so
just.
letting go of that, for example, can be a great way to understand what does under-energizing actually mean. While, so like into a model of like three
Mm-hmm.
things,
Yeah.
without changing vowel and without losing pitch.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, this is really difficult, where they always stay on, where they lose pitch as soon as the energy drops.
Mm-hmm.
For other people, it's really difficult. They, as I mentioned earlier, they start to make adjustments to the vowel
Mm-hmm.
when they go down in energy. But this we can reverse engineer. So what I'd like to do in this moment is let's start with something that has creaking. Now let's go louder. Have
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
creaking go away. Okay, let's start from loud.
Mm-hmm.
You go quiet or keep same shape. Creaking comes back in, and then we can do this on other pitches. So that is how I like to teach creaking.
Mm-hmm.
Unless someone tells me, "Hey, I want to do hypercompressed screams."
Then you're going
So
from distortion
yeah, then I go, as you suggested, I go
and
the hypercompression first,
yeah.
then distortion,
Mm-hmm.
then creaking. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? Like couple of things which is keeping into my mind about the vowels. That's a game changer completely in anything like clean
yeah,
singing. And I remember, uh, like back in the days, what problems I had. Number one, I've been a really good connected guy with a clean,
yeah,
powerful
yeah,
singing. And I was going through the first bridge, the second, up to third, like up to A5, easy, super strong. And I was like, hold on a second, if I can go, yeah, why with the distortion, I'm stuck in right on the second bridge area. Like
yeah,
A4, it's okay. B flat 4, it feels like something is not happening. That was the valve. I was not opening the
yeah.
valve right there.
You
So
weren't,
it,
yeah,
so it
yeah,
was like low part of the
yeah,
voice.
yeah,
Then you are narrowing. What I did, remember I said about
yeah.
covering? I was, hey, oh, yeah. And I was like, okay, oh,
But when you
oh, oh.
cover, you still need to open up more as you go higher.
Exactly. And
Still,
after
yeah,
that, I
yeah,
was like, hold on a second. Okay, what I'm doing with the clean. Whoa! And I was
yeah,
like, holy. I open in here and I'm not, and I, okay.
yeah.
Oh! And I was like, that was like, finally.
That is,
However,
yeah,
this thing helped me with the screaming because when I was not opening the valve, you know
you
what
got
I mean?
unstable.
Exactly. So, and it always like that with the students. who are trying to sing higher or clean or with grit
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
stocking. And you're like,
Good vowel
whoa,
shaping.
whoa,
Checky pitch.
whoa. But
Yeah.
I'm staying with the same vowel. That's
Yeah.
why the impedance is completely unadjustable.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Yeah.
super unstable. I'm losing the fast vibration. It's going into a slower vibration, which is
Yeah.
creaking. And another thing which is really helpful, I had one student, he's a really good singer, rock singer. He's singing with a grit. He's belting really cool. He's screaming really cool. He has some problems with clean, powerful singing after A4, like B flat, B, high tenor, C,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
higher.
Yeah.
And what was really helpful, we were going like, okay, let's like put the larynx down. Let's go like to thin out more,
Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
tilt more the larynx, more CT
Yeah.
oriented
Yeah.
sound. And he was like, oh, it was like that. And I was like, hold on a second. Okay, this is not helping. Are you quacking? Yes, like, okay, but I'm stalking. Let's try to open the valve, raise larynx, more depths of palate, like,
Yeah.
hey! He's like, like this sound. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
okay, hold on a sec. And you know what was the problem? Like the mental vision of things. And after I told him, like, check this out. That's your fry creaking sound. Hey! Starting from here, if you're gonna slightly decompress, it's gonna be
Yeah.
but if you need strong, which I call the medium mode, the medium
Yeah.
layer of the
Yeah.
folds, more compressed, call it whatever you want, like curbing or even edge, you need to compress more from the creaking. So it's from there.
Yeah. More.
And
More.
we
Yeah.
were like,
More
hold on a
energy.
second, like, okay, let's take A. That's A. And I was telling him, okay, just put the creaking here, like, but super stable, like
Yeah.
quacked,
Yeah.
proper vowel, support, stable. He's like, okay, and I, okay, go from there and increase
Or
the
louder.
compression.
Yeah. Increase energy.
And he, okay, like, he was like, okay, so he thought he needs to let go.
Go less.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And after he understood that clean tone is more compressed than creaking, so he need to compress more, add more energy and volume, and to zip up more the folds,
Yeah.
because he need faster vibration of the folds.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
problem was solved. So that's
Great.
you
Great
know
work.
like vice versa
Yeah.
idea from the like
Yeah.
from the
Great
another
work.
thing. So
Great work, Alex.
yeah, yeah. And another thing about about the valve, basically, it's really cool when you're opening the valve with a clean belt tone, or even with a grit, and you're just covering in the upper part. Bang, you have the screaming sound. That's that.
You
That's the
should,
word.
have you read Bozeman?
No.
Um,
Mm-mm.
okay, you should really, this is all about practical vocal acoustics.
Mm-hmm.
Let me make some ads for Bozeman,
Mm-hmm.
Practical Vocal Acoustics. It's a book, and I can really recommend that. That really changed my understanding of CVT, of clean vocals,
Mm-hmm.
of resonance, and also of screaming.
Cool.
So I think, Alex, you're gonna love it.
Great.
Bozeman, Practical Vocal Acoustics. I'm really big on tuning the vowel to certain harmonics. Really helped me with my understanding, and I think it's
Cool.
gonna really click with you. Check that out. It was so widespread that vocal effects are harmful.
Yeah.
And so many teachers would just say, I remember I had like my first singing teacher
Mm-hmm.
at a local music school. She would tell me that to sound like this, you need damaged vocal folds. It's like,
Bro, you
yeah,
know what?
but
I
yeah,
remember this. I know how to explain this. You know Ron Anderson? He was
yeah, yeah,
coaching
yeah,
Miles Kennedy,
yeah,
Matt Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold, like a
yeah.
bunch of Axl Rose, by the way. He's
Wow,
a
that's a rap sheet.
And he was a good teacher. He was from more old school approach and
Yeah.
the poggio and more covered vowels, all this thing. But I remember I had a student who was a big Devin Townsend fan,
Yeah.
huge fan. And he was like, okay, I need those fry screams in the upper part. And we were starting to work on that. And he was like, do you know Ron Anderson? And I was like, yeah, that's a huge vocal coach. And he said, you know what? Back in the days when Devin Townsend was singing in Steve Vai band, like Sex and Religion record,
Mm.
and Steve Vai was like, okay, guy, maybe you need some vocal coach. But Devin Townsend was singing amazing even there. But he was like, okay, why not? And when he was training with Ron Anderson, he said like, dude, if you're going to sing this way, you'll be done in 2 or 3 years. And I saw an interview of Dan Townsend, and he was like, this Ron Anderson told me about that like maybe 20 years ago. If I'm going to sing this way,
Yeah.
I'm going to like damage my, and I'm still doing completely the same. And you know what? It's like, after that, I understood that it's not like, okay, he's not knowing what he's talking about,
Yeah.
because it's like completely different world. And
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
why CVT,
Yeah.
not only about the vocal effects, about finally singing with raised larynx, it's okay, and not even okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
healthy if you need super
Or
compressed
you
loud
need
tone.
twang. You need
Yeah.
a more closed,
Narrow,
more
more and more
narrow
and more.
larynx. And
Exactly.
everybody was talking, no, the larynx needs to be open. It needs to be
Or
all open.
or
Oh my
or
God. Oh my God.
let us be clear. You need to, let's say it for real, contract finally. We need to
Yeah.
contract,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
okay.
And the thing is, opera singers do it too. They do
Exactly.
it too. The thing is, who's really big about this? Wait,
Mhm.
Ian Howell. Ian Howell.
Uh-huh.
Hearing singing.
Okay.
Also really great, but really also such like I need to read it really slowly because it's so difficult for my little brain.
Cool.
But the sensations that we get when singing are not the exact things that are happening. Chest voice does not resonate here.
Sympathetic
Okay,
vibration thing.
exactly, it's sympathetic resonation. It's like there's a truck outside the window passing by. I have a glass of water here, and the truck passing by makes the water vibrate. Does the water have anything to do with the truck? No,
Yeah.
right? It's just the truck going by. It's the truck making all the things,
Yeah.
right? And just because I feel my chest voice here doesn't mean that this sensation makes my chest voice more resonant or whatever.
100%.
And it's very similar with the open throat. Things that can be very, very, very twanged and metallic, so very narrow larynx can feel very open and free.
Yes.
And things that have a very open larynx can feel totally restricted,
Exactly.
right?
And
Yeah.
stuck. That's why vibratory
Yeah.
pattern
Yeah.
mechanisms idea, it's way, way better. Because that's the
Yeah.
vibratory
Yeah.
pattern. How
Yeah.
you know what? Again, that's the thing. Always, like every single my masterclass is all about this question. Okay, what's that? Hey, like, okay, that's head voice. Why? Because it resonates in head. Okay, what's that? Hey, like that's head voice. I'm like, hold on a second, but I'm not changing. It's completely like it's the same, but it resonates in head. But I can say it's chest voice, but high.
Yeah.
So it's not
No.
wrong or right. Both
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
I can say this
Yeah.
is head voice because it resonates in head. I can say it's
Yeah.
chest voice because it feels the same vibratory, like more
Yeah.
M1
Yeah.
AD. So
But then this is also so person dependent, right? One person would say, I feel this in my skull.
mm-hmm.
The next person would say, I feel it at my soft palate.
Yeah.
And the third person might say, I don't feel anything at all.
Bro, the
Right?
same. You
Yeah.
know what? That's a really important topic about nasal quality, opening the nasal passages, nasal pharynx resonation. This thing, because this is essential thing for the middle part of the voice. But you know what? Every single time when I want from somebody to be nasal and open the nasal port, he sounds denasal totally. When he's opening the nasal port and I hear the freedom finally, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, I don't feel nasality at all. And I like,
Yeah,
are
yeah,
you kidding me? He's like, no. Every time I'm trying to be nasal, I'm kind of like this. And I'm like, dude, you're closing the nose just like when you're sick. Like, there's no baba,
yeah, yeah.
like lab.
Going,
So it's so
yeah,
counterintuitive. All like with the chest
yeah.
resonation or head, the nasal port opening or closing, completely the same thing. And
Yeah, yeah. And then going more nasal can help in that middle register, or in that middle part
mhm.
when we are not metallic,
Yeah,
right? So for non-metallic mix. Um, okay, I think I learned something new. It's cool. I haven't thought about it this way.
yeah, but because
Yeah,
like that's really like I'm a big fan of those two positions when the soft pellet is more kind. I call it straight when you have this pharyngeal quality but denasal.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
and you can put it just a bit lower, and it'll be a bit like basically yay,
yeah, yeah,
yay. Just, so it's to go into the straight position a lot of the times if you don't have control, you can lower the palate more
yeah,
to feel this nasality. And from there,
yeah,
just like open it just a bit. Not into this thing, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I think it's a
For
very
the.
tiny. Need to hear again. But what might be happening is that low. Wait, let me not talk bullshit. But that could make the first formant go a little lower. So you have an
Yeah!
easier time going into closed timbre.
First
Is
form and
that?
second harmonic for the more
Yes.
metal
Yeah.
belty sound.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it goes, but it goes a little lower than, so it goes kind of in between first and second
That's
harmonic.
what I'm talking about, the
Or,
straight. Yeah.
yeah. You're gonna love Bozeman, Alex. It's exactly about this.
Cool.
Yeah. Alex, I need to, I need to leave. It's already
It's
quite
okay.
late.
It's
And,
okay. And
yeah,
I
I'm already
really
a little
thank you for
over.
your time. It was like a second, you know? This time it was like
Totally, totally was so cool. I'm Okay, we can do another time, but then we need to do a little earlier, and I hope I don't get sick. Um,
100%.
because when it's so late, I can't be loud, and now
I
I'm already
understand.
like my almost like kindred spirits in that regard, right? Your thinking is so similar to my
Oh,
thinking. I didn't know that. I had some hints of that when I saw your material, but that is so cool. I'd
great.
love to also maybe discuss really hyper compressed fresh screams or also false chord screams.
Okay.
Yeah, and go a little deeper into the vowel stuff for creaking.
Let's do it. It's
Right.
going to be the part
Alex,
number 2.
yes, that'd be
Man,
lovely.
it was
Thank you so
I was
much.
nice to meet you, brother.
Thank you for having me. And of course, thank you to everybody watching right when they're watching this.
Cool.
Was a pleasure. Take care,
Okay.
Alex.
Take care. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.